I just bought the cheapest step deck trailer I could find on Facebook Marketplace. So now let's go pick it up and see if I made a mistake. Now, I did just buy a flatbed trailer not too long ago to help me move all my stuff from Utah to North Carolina. And I bought a flatbed because they're the cheapest, but I really wanted a step deck, except they're 3 times the cost typically. So I sold my flatbed trailer just because it's so hard to get vehicles on and off of a flatbed. It's not that usable to me. But I did find this great deal on a step deck trailer, so let's go pick it up. So hopefully it's still roadworthy and has some life left to it, but it's still not suitable to like really load vehicles on because it doesn't have any ramps. So let's bring it back. I'm going to fab up some ramps for it. And then once we have a step deck trailer with ramps, I'm going to go pick up a new truck I just bought from the military surplus auction. So yep, here's the trailer. It's pretty rusty, but air ride suspension. The deck is barely holding on for dear life. It's going to have to be replaced soon, but might be able to get away with it for now. But now the goal is to extend out a nice dovetail with some ramps to go down the rest of the way. Should be a nice gradual incline. And then it should turn into a pretty useful trailer with a lot of deck space to haul around whatever vehicles I want to put on it. I started by beating off these rubber stoppers because the bolts holding them on were so rusted and decayed that it was easier to just beat on them and cut through them rather than try to unscrew them. And next I cut part of this back rub rail to make room for the dovetail to weld onto. And then I ground down the nubs that remain so we would have a nice flat back to build off of. Here's my makeshift desk, stack of tires, stack of clothes. And then my laptop. This is dimensioned as the back of the trailer. I designed this whole dovetail and ramp assembly to weld off of that. And then I made this sketch right here to visualize what the ramp will look like when it's folded up. So this half will be fixated to the trailer, and then this half will hinge up and down. And I didn't include it in this model, but I have some tread plate to go over all of this stuff. So it'll be a nice grippy ramp to drive up on. I went ahead and found a good deal on all this steel. 3x3 square tube with a 3/8 thick wall. So it's really beefy. It'll be a really nice material to make my dovetail out of. So let's get to chopping and processing all this to be all the pieces. I have all the exact dimensions in my model, so it should just be cutting all these pieces out to their exact size and angles and whatnot, and then welding all these puzzle pieces together. So I'm curious to see how well it'll transfer from computer land into real life. So let's get to cutting all this metal up. This shop saw put in the work for this project. Lots of steel to cut. Next, I ground the paint off the trailer down to bare metal so that we would have a clean surface to weld new metal pieces to. And then I added this new piece of metal across the bottom, and this will tie into the bottom of the dovetail and add more strength back there. Now for drilling all the holes that the ramps would hinge on, I figured a mag drill would be the best tool for the job since it's just a mini drill press with a big old electromagnet at the bottom. But since they're $1,000, I'm going to hold off on buying one for now. But I was able to find somebody that was willing to rent me theirs. So I drove all the metal to their house and just worked out the back of my car and got all my holes drilled perfectly. And they turned out super exact and straight, so I couldn't be happier. Alrighty, there's a few places in this model where I have to make this really steep cut. So that's at 19 degrees right there. Now this saw has a ton of angle adjustment. But to get my 19-degree angle, I would have to set this saw at 71 degrees. However, the steepest that this saw goes is 50 degrees, so it's too far off from 71. However, if I go ahead and set the saw at the 19 degrees, and I had this jig I made, just 2 scrap pieces welded at exactly 90 degrees. Put that right up against this line right there, clamp it down, and then feed my piece in this way, I can get my cut that I need. And this may look sketchy, but as long as this is clamped down and I have my piece clamped to this jig really tightly, it's not gonna go anywhere. It should be pretty safe. This saw blade has Cermet carbide teeth and it's been cutting through the steel impressively well. Except it wasn't quite long enough, so I had to finish it off with a grinder. There we go. Cut turned out pretty nice. Okay, I have this bolt running through just so that this nut could be held in place, because now I'm going to weld along this half of the nut so it's captured in there fully. Now obviously I only have enough access to weld half of this nut, but it's such a big nut that that's still a lot of weld holding it solid. And then I'm doing it on the other side with a second nut. I'm using a 1-inch grade 8 bolt, so hopefully that's strong enough for a hinge pin. I'm curious to see how it holds up. There are those nuts in there. All right, I went all gun-ho and finished this side. Turned out really nice. Pivots on those bolts really nice. And now that I already know how to build one side, enjoy this time lapse because this side should go pretty smooth now. First, I'm adding this vertical piece of steel, and that'll tie in the corner of that bottom piece that I added back to the rest of the trailer. And then I clamp on this bottom placeholder and use a ratchet strap to help hold up this horizontal piece. And I use this digital angle finder to help me make it perfectly 90 degrees to the back of the trailer. And I'll add some tack welds and make sure everything's level and square. And then once it's in place, I'll fully weld it.
I'm waiting for the curtain call, 'cause I want it all, anyway at all. Thought I missed it by waiting for the game response.
And then I do a similar process to get that second horizontal piece in. And I can use that digital angle finder to reference off the back of the trailer and that other piece I just welded in and make sure this one is exactly where it needs to be.
I'll let you in, it ain't a sin with all these simulations. Should be fixed now, will take a while to get rid of. I'm sorry, all we can't see the good that we had Jenny.
Next, I'm setting up the angled part. I found it best to just build these three pieces together facing vertically and then move that whole unit into place once it's all put together. I'm also able to thread my bolts in so that the holes stay perfectly in line while I'm welding this piece out.
Thought I missed it by waiting for the game response, for the lost and found, for the home alone, and for you to come home, you to come home. I'll let you in, it ain't a sin with all these simulations. Should be fixed now, will take a while to get rid of. I'm sorry, all we can't see the good that we had Jenny. I won't let my feelings play a game, so I might as well remove your name. Jenny, you will not stay the same, but I'll be waiting here until the end.
I have these three mocked up. As you can see at the trailer, we have gaps on these two, and this guy's butted up against there. So that's just because this section of the trailer sticks out more on this side than it does on that side. So I'm going to trim off a 1/4 inch of this so this can all suck in and we can get rid of these gaps.
I'm waiting for the curtain call, 'cause I want it all, anyway at all. Thought I missed it by waiting for the game response, for the lost and found, for the home alone, and for you to come home, you to come home. I'll let you in, it ain't a sin with all these simulations. Should be fixed now, will take a while to get rid of. I'm sorry, all we can't see the good that we had Jenny. I'm waiting for the curtain call, 'cause I want it all, anyway at all. Thought I missed it by waiting for the game response, for the lost and found, for the home alone, and for you to come home, you to come home. I'll let you in, it ain't a sin with all these simulations. Should be fixed now, will take a while to get rid of. I'm sorry, all we can't see the good.
Once the dovetail is all in place and partially welded, I went on to bolt up the ramp section and got it welded together as one unit.
So I might as well remove your name. Jenny, you will not stay the same, but I'll be waiting here until the end. Till the end. Until the end.
Next, I'm welding on some legs to these ramps. These will help to take a lot of load off the bolts and transfer a lot of weight back to the ground of whatever you're loading onto the trailer. These legs are welded perpendicularly to the ramps, and this allows for when the ramp is folded down, the legs are at a forward angle, and that will help deter the ramp from flipping up as you're driving up onto it.
I'm waiting for the curtain call. Guess I want it all. Anyway at all. Thought I missed it by waiting for the game respond. For the lost and found. For the home alone. And for you to come home. You to come home. I let you in. It ain't a sin with all these simulations. Should be fixed by. Will take a while to get rid of. I'm sorry. No, we can't see the good that we have.
I relocated the lights to there. And I do have more tread plate to fill that gap later on. Alrighty, here's my 7-ton. As you can see, a little messed up in the front end here. Both front tires are slashed and don't hold any air. So I brought 2 spare tires on the trailer there. So right now I'm going to work on jacking the front end up and swapping these 2 front tires. And then it'll be much easier to roll around and push up onto the trailer.
Jeans, blue eyes in a crowded room. My friends told me not to fall for you. As I'm finding out that I'm not the only one that you lean on. Did you find someone to lean on? I found something new. Lost in a moment. My heart fell down for you. Those nights we had, I can't take them back. I found something new.
Our first attempt in loading caused my rig to be pushed forward because the tire skidded on my semi, and also the trailer parking brakes are not set as tight as they need to be. So we added some wheel chocks to the trailer, and that helped to hold everything in place while the loader was able to push the 7-ton up onto the trailer. And the loader wasn't allowed to drive up onto my trailer to set the 7-ton further up on the trailer. So I dropped it on the back and then looped around to the side and lifted the back end up. And that allowed me to hop in my semi and back up the trailer, which allowed the 7-ton to roll forward. And then from there, the loader was able to wiggle it around to try to get it a little more straight on the trailer. And then I went ahead and chained it down and hit the road.
Jeans, blue eyes in a crowded room.
mean to swing it that wide. My steer tires just weren't pulling me that way. Josh is bringing in the second 7-ton to pull me out. Alrighty, we successfully made it back to the shop. The new trailer performed flawlessly, and also the new ramps held up great. So we're about to tackle unloading this 7-ton. Hopefully that goes smooth, but I want to take a sec to give some love to Heatwave. Now, if you guys ever see me wearing sunglasses or safety glasses when I'm working in the shop, they're going to be Heatwaves. That's because they fit my face super comfortably, and also I beat the heck out of these glasses, and they're surprisingly durable. They have all sorts of combinations of different lens designs and colors, so I'm sure you can find something that you like, and you can't beat their price point. And also, they gave me a discount code to share with you guys. If you use my code HUNTER10, you can get 10% off your order, so feel free to go check those guys out. Yeah. Also, if you wanted to know what were in the boxes that I had on the trailer in the thumbnail, it's these sand trail tires. They're some of my favorite tires. I've never seen one blow up. Unlike the ones that come on the 7-tons, they blow up every other trip you go out on. So they're not very reliable. These should be pretty reliable. They all have rims. I was able to get them cheap at the auction, so I stocked up on them. And I wanted these in particular because sometimes you don't find these in these crates. But these were all stored in these crates, so they've been out of the sun their entire life, so they should be in brand new condition. All right, I was going to try to get this new truck running, but the starter seems to be bad. I've sent power directly to it, and there's no life to it. So instead of bothering trying to get it running now, I'm just going to start tearing this truck down in preparation for the super truck project that I've alluded to in the past. Now, this super truck project is something I've been planning for like 7 years. I'm super excited to start on the project and share it with you guys. The base of it is basically going to be 2 of these 7-tons put together. It'll be 10 axles, weigh about 75,000 pounds, and be powered by both of these engines. And that's all the hints I can give about it for now, but I think you guys are really going to enjoy it once it's finally time to start on it, which I was planning on having it started by now. But if you guys are following along, you guys know that I just had to relocate from Utah to North Carolina. So because my plans for a new shop out west fell apart, I had to take the money I had saved up to start on this project and funnel it into moving to North Carolina and building this shop that I'm in now. So I'm bummed we've had all these setbacks with starting this project, but it's how life goes sometimes. But also, if you remember, I already had 2 of these 7-tons and was ready to start on the project because these trucks mainly come through auction out of California and Georgia. So I bought 2 out of California, brought them back to Utah, and then my shop plans fell apart. But because these trucks are so heavy and costly to move around, it made more sense to sell one of them in Utah and just trailer one in North Carolina and then buy another one, this one, out of Georgia, since Georgia and North Carolina is right next to each other. So now we're back where I started. I have 2 of these trucks and now a shop to work out of, so that's sweet. So I'm going to start tearing this one down and do a bunch of behind the scenes design work and getting ready for this project to go full speed ahead. And I want to get everything set up to where once it is time to reveal the full scope of this project to you guys, which I think is going to blow your mind, I won't have to be dealing with any little side projects that'll distract me away from this, and I can focus 100% of my time on building the super truck and make a bunch of videos on it to bring you guys along for the ride. So sorry to keep you waiting. Been trying to push through all these setbacks. So thank you for bearing with me.